after the Lord blessed us with not having any major problems over the weekend with the snow and ice. Martin Luther King Day, I think of unity, and I know that's what we're trying to do here as we prepare for the future with everybody. So let's go to the Lord in prayer. Heavenly Father, what a joy it is to be before you this morning with this group of servants who love you and want to serve our community. Lord, we give you all the praise, the honor, and glory for another day of life and for the excitement of what lies ahead for Madison County with the Blue Oval coming up and all the key decisions that must be made regarding law enforcement and education and everything that these great servants have in front of them. So Lord, we ask for knowledge and wisdom from above, that you'll help us, give us direction, give us unity, give us cordiality where we can all work together, maybe disagree but not be disagreeable. So Lord, we just thank you for this day, ask you to use us for your honor and glory, and perhaps come back soon, maybe today even. In Jesus' glorious name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is our regular call meeting in January, the Madison County Board of Commissioners. Today is Tuesday, January the 18th, 2022. It's 8:34. We're meeting at the West Tennessee Research and Educational Center at 605 Airways Boulevard, and in the room 150 in good old Jackson, Tennessee. That zip code will be 38305. We've had the invocation and the pledge. Roll call.
Alexander. Here. Arnold. Yeah. Beckham. Bond. Here. Brantley. Brown Claudel. Here. Brown Scott. Here. Bryant. Cleek. Here. Compton. Here. Deaton.
Here.
Ellison. Here. Gobble. Here. Hale. Here. Hampton Pearson.
Here.
Johnson Arthur. Here. Johnson Barber. Martin. Here. Mercer. Montague. Here. Petty. Spearman. Stevenson. Here. Taylor. Here. Wall. Here. I've got 19 present, Mr. Chairman.
19 present.
Maybe 18.
Miss Brantley's here. Now we have 20. Come on in, Katie. Welcome to the crowd. Good to have you back.
It's good to be back.
Item number 3, the approval of the minutes are not prepared yet, so we'll take that up in February's meeting. Item number 4, we have a meeting here, guys. Item number 4, presentation of the county mayor.
We don't have any, Mr. Chairman.
Don't have anything. Item number 5, announcement from the chair. We have a nice little, it says, Dear Madison County Commissioners, I'd like to say thank you for the year-ending bonus given to the Madison County employees. What a kind and generous act during a year of confusion and uncertainty. She says, I am grateful. That would be from Linda Brown, the Madison County Juvenile Court. Thank you, Linda. That was nice. We very rarely get a thanks, and I appreciate that.
That's where the Browns are.
Amen.
The Browns are good at that, aren't they?
You know it.
Item number 6, announcement from the school superintendent. Okay. Item number 7, progress report on the jail. Captain.
March 31st.
March 31st. Is that all, Tom? That's it.
Is it?
Item number 8, boy, moving right along here. Report from the Chamber of Commerce.
I'll slow you down a little bit. That's okay. I'm going to update you guys on a couple of things. Number 1, Georgia Pacific is about a little more than halfway through on a 90-day due diligence that they're doing on the property. We've got weekly calls with them, and those are going very, very well. Downtown, I think we've sold about 17 properties. The Elks Building, the Jackson Sun Building, and the Old City Court Building are the three major buildings still in the market. I think you'll see us shift now from trying to sell buildings to get more people living and working downtown.
You say you sold 17 properties?
So you'll see the focus shift to more people living and working downtown. Some of those buildings are going to have retail, commercial on the bottom with lofts and apartments in the second and third floor. So the goal is to get more people living and working downtown. That'll drive additional development. The South Greenway that's going to go from Bemis to downtown is still alive and well. Some opportunities, speaking with some landowners, connecting those two, but I think that'll get worked out. The 850-acre project out north is about 98% complete. There's still 2 wet areas that need to get paved. They can't have an official opening until those 2 areas are paved for ADA purposes. But I anticipate those to get done when it dries up some, probably in the spring. And then Great Wolf, I know Lori was probably going to talk about that when she gets here, if she shows up, but it's continuing to move. We had a call last week with the attorneys, and Great Wolf's attorney and the IDB's attorneys to continue to work through that. Nothing with the structure of the deal, just getting it put on a piece of paper to where everybody agrees to what that piece of paper says and communicates to everybody. So if any questions, I'll try to answer them, but if not, that's...
South Greenway.
Time.
No, sir, it'll be a sort of a rails to trail. It'll be I think it's 12-foot wide, paved, 3.5 mile walking, biking trail that'll go from Bemis all the way to, it kicks out sort of near the brewery, the farmer's market.
Okay.
It's for pedestrian, bikes, walking.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ryan. Let me make mention of this. We have a person in our crowd, Mike Winslow. Mike, will you stand up? We want to wish you a happy birthday, my friend.
I've stumbled through another decade.
Thank you, Mike. Mike, I think you're just a mere 70 years old. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
Some of us remember those times.
Some of us don't.
Let's go back to, let's jump back up and let Superintendent King.
You don't have any of that? I don't have anything.
You don't have anything? On 2022, we don't have anything. Okay. That's item number 8, report from Jackson Chamber. I just did that. I want to go to 9, report from Lori Nunley. I would like to have that report, but Lori isn't here. 2022 is starting out with small attendance. I don't guess we got over 2021 yet, have we?
There she is. There she is.
Hey, Lori, come on in. We're waiting on you. We're holding the meeting up just for you.
So here's what's going on. Never miss an opportunity. Never miss an opportunity. So things that are going on, we are celebrating in cooperation with the state of Tennessee. They're doing a Songwriters Week. We are hosting an event at the Southern Legends of Music Museum, otherwise known as the Carnegie. And so that'll be February 12th. We're taking about 20 songwriters that'll come in, compete. It'll be a progressive competition. Those songwriters will have the opportunity to compete at the Bluebird Lounge in Nashville. Most people have heard of that. So it's a great opportunity for local songwriters to have some exposure. That's going on. We're also going to be launching the Music Ambassadors program. There'll be more details to follow on that here in the next probably week. We are looking for people that are willing to go out and hear that live music. And so that's what the Ambassadors program is going to be. And then finally, tax money continues to go well. We're waiting on the reports for this, would it actually be November's month, but things seem to be going well in tourism, so things are good. And I can answer any questions you guys have.
Any questions? Did a good job.
Thank you.
Cindy, you don't sit back there, you don't come down here with us.
I'll just stay with you.
Item number 10, report from our Finance Director, Karen Bell.
Okay, I have a few things this morning. First of all, I want to go over the fund balance that I do every month with you. I want to show you that we're about $16.8 million on our fund balance, which is well above the policy that we adopted, which is 33.9%. The second thing that I'd like to go over with you is to refresh your mind once again as to what our current debt service remains, and you'll see where I'm going with this when we get to it. But we started out this fiscal year with $84.7 million. This does include the $19 million for the school, because we went ahead and calculated that in there, even though we've not done a bond issue on that, the $19 million that will come up in 2027. This year, we're projected to end the debt service with $74.5 million, paying off $13.6 million this year. The next thing that I'd like to go over with you, I know many of you received information from the Comptroller's Office about the ARPA money, the American Rescue Plan Act, as far as some changes that have been made with the final rule that came out. Keep in mind, this final rule will not take effect until April the 1st, 2022. But some of the things that came about because of that is our base rate of where they calculate lost revenue has changed from 4.1% to 5.2%. What does that mean for Madison County? When we submitted our report back in October, we showed lost revenue of $6.8 million. Because of the new base rate, we're allowed to show lost revenue up to $9.9 million. There's a formula that you calculate this, and so what that means for us is, if you'll remember, the ARPA money has restrictions as to what it can be used for. With the lost revenue, it's unlimited. In other words, when you show that lost revenue, there are no restrictions. The final rule also came out to show that we could claim up to $10 million. However, keep in mind, for Madison County, we got 9.5 in the first disbursement and projected to receive 9.5 in the second disbursement. We did receive word from Washington last week that is anticipated to be sent out. They don't know when. It could be anywhere from May to August. So we may or may not have that funding by the time we do our budget. But in the Education Vision meeting last week, there was some discussion about, we didn't know this, so I want to make sure today some things that you do know. Again, our first disbursement was $9.5 million. Our second is projected to be $9.5. Over the last 12 months, many of you know that I've sent in several requests as to what it can or cannot be used for. So I'd like to go over what those requests are, because the state will open a portal at the end of this month where we can submit and get final ruling as to what the funds can be used for. Of course, many of you know that last month the bonus that was received, or the premium pay, part of the ARPA money was used for that, for our public safety and public health. About $1.1 million of our 9.5 that we received. Requests that have been sent in over this last year has been, can we use this funding for the hotel motel as far as the downfall that they saw during the pandemic? Again, no definite ruling on that. Funding for our local chamber, I asked if it could be used for the fast forward economic development. Again, there would have to be specifics written on that, so they didn't give a definite answer on that. We discussed the ELC building for the health department, $800,000. However, the health department asked that request be pulled because they were seeking another grant and going a different route with that. Renovations to the second floor Chancery Court offices and courtroom, $25,000. No definitive answer given on that. Radio communications upgrade for the sheriff's department, $250,000. No definitive answer given. Body scale, $150,000. The state stated that was a gray area and to go back and resubmit when the portal opened. Network equipment for IT, $49,500. We got a green light on that. However, moving forward, Mr. Preston wanted to go ahead and spend them out of the capital budget, but we did get a green light on that. Eagle View Bigtometry for the assessor's office, $170,000. They said no, this was not a qualified use. Renovations to the old jail, said possibly, but we must relate it to additions, improvements related to future distancing. As the guidance says, forward-looking COVID mitigation, planning to provide distance for future use. So that was not a no, but a possible. Demolition of Beach Bluff old building. We tried to say about lead being in the building, but we got a no on that. Premium pay was a yes. Payment of employees rather than using sick leave. This was a request that Mayor Harris asked we submit. We got a yes on that. Building a Pope school was a definite yes due to overcrowding and social distancing. Now, one of the things in addition to that I want to go over that has been talked about in financial management, budget committee, and long-range planning is some outstanding large projects that Madison County is facing. Pope School, $26 to $48 million. Juvenile Detention Center, cost unknown. Old jail renovations. Currently, we have $500,000 in the current contract to use, but total cost is unknown. Demolition of Beach Bluff School, projections have been about $600,000. Last week, as you'll hear in some of the committee reports, the equestrian park, some additional needs, cost unknown. School capital needs, buses annually, $1 to $2 million for replacement of aging fleet. Capital needs over the next 3 years, based on the requests that have been submitted, range from 5.8, 4.5, and 3.6 million. So I just wanted to share all that information with you. The last thing that I want to share with you is the Esser spending plan that Dr. King and his executive staff presented to the school board last week. For the Esser, I want to bring you up to date as to the funds that have been received both by Madison County and by the Jackson-Madison County school system. The school system has received $58.1 million related to COVID funding. The first tranche of money was a COVID grant for LEA, $125,000. COVID technology funding, $50,000. Esser 1.0, 3897423, of which $400,000 had to be given to private schools to open their schools back up and to keep things going during the pandemic. Esser 2.0, $16.4 million, which must be obligated to be spent by June 30th of 2023. Esser 3.0, $37.6 million, obligated to be spent by June 30th, 2024. Madison County has received, hang on just a second here, the sheet. Well, I'll go back to that. For the Esser, I want to go over the projects that Dr. King has had approved by the board and what they're using their capital funds in Esser for. Telephone system, $782,300. The status of that is in process. A PO has been issued. ExecuTime attendance tracking system, $400,000. That is in process. And I know many of you are thinking, well, we paid for the ExecuTime back in December of 2018. This is for clocks and kiosks and iPads and things that he's going to need because he's doing it full blown in all of the schools across the county. Union purchase for his cyber school, JASA. If any of you have had an opportunity to visit the old Circuit City building over off of, I guess it's off Van Drive over there, $1.8 million. They're going to be purchasing that building. They received approval from his board last week. Playground equipment, $450,000. Central office, Hub City Center. Many of you know that Madison has opened their new school and moved out, and it is Dr. King's intent to turn the old Madison into a Hub City Center, to have the central office, include a command center, family resource center, and a cafe. Again, these are all projected costs, and working with Dr. Catlett, I can assure you they'll probably come in under budget, but we projected $9 million. Melissa's to continue the cyber initiatives, $3 million. West Bemis for locker and concessions, $500,000. Windows and doors throughout the system at all schools, $5.4 million. Roofs to be included at Denmark, JCT, Thelma Barker, Southside High School, $4.8 million. And the JCM auditorium to have renovations, $2 million, for a total of $28.1 million of Esser capital projects that will be completed with this. Any questions or information?
And number 5 does include the football stadium with track, regular track.
Mr. Chairman, Kevin, could you send everybody a copy and put up what you do?
I most certainly will. Most certainly. I did find, I wanted to give an update as to the money received by the county for COVID, $13.9 million. We received under ARPA 9.5 at this time, projected to receive another 9.5, but that's not included in the total. CARES Fund, $1.4 million. The Health Department has received grants in the amount of $55,000 and $2.8 million. The Sheriff's Department received $53,251, and the Election Commission received $97,000 for a total of $13.9 million of COVID money. Thank you.
Dr. King, what did you say on item 5?
Item 5, is that Hub City Center? Yes. So that $9 million would include the football stadium that we are going to.
JC.
Yes. Well, I say we say JCM, but it's going to be really for the entire community. But JCM will be using it for football. But
Gotcha.
we will have our track field and everything there.
Yes, sir, Mr. Taylor.
Question for Ms. Dahl. The grant funds that came in that aren't a part of, or that have not been allocated, have not been spent yet, will you send that out to the group? There's a curiosity with all this grant money coming in, how it's being utilized by each department.
Are you talking about the total COVID grants that I referenced?
Yeah, the ones you
yes,
just
sure, be happy
Wonderful,
to.
thank you.
Anything else? Moving right along to item number 11, report from the county officials, standing special committees, any old business and action thereof by this board. Commissioner Stevenson.
Quick report from the insurance committee. We met. We had a balance of a little over $2 million, which is slightly down from that. That was in November. Also, we're in discussions about looking at the 401k to increase the matching and doing some things. So we're still in that, still moving forward on that. So.
Any other committee reports? Commissioner Compton.
Mr. Chairman, Property Committee met, and as Ms. Bell said, we have been discussing the equestrian center and the project going on down at Young Park. Don't really have anything this month to bring up other than the fact that Ms. Bell and our internal auditor, Mr. Burkhead, are diving into kind of seeing exactly where the process broke down on some of the items that were included, were not included, need to be included. There's just a number of items that we are going to have to spend some money on, but I've talked to Mr. Guerin, and some of those items may not be as of a necessity at this point as once thought just a few weeks ago. But I just wanted to give the body an update that Mr. Burkhead and Ms. Bell are going to report to us at the Property Committee in February on kind of where this stands. I guess the biggest thing that we're looking at is not necessarily, it's not going to ease up any if we have to spend some more money, but we want to make sure that we understand where and why this broke down to ensure that this doesn't happen on any future project moving forward. And also, we're working with the Conservation Board on this as well. And I also will bring up that Conservation Board met, and the only item, nothing to act on yet, there will be something coming to this body regarding the Salem Cemetery. The Friends of Salem Cemetery is a private group. They are working with the state on encompassing the surrounding area around the Salem Cemetery, potentially looking at making it more of a historic site, kind of like Parker's Crossroads. But they have to have some help from the local government to be able to, for the state to be able to move forward. So the Conservation Board is moving forward with the state on creating a contract. And then it'll be brought to this board for either approval or denial within the next couple of months.
Go back to the grant, just give a good overview. How much of the grant was for $1 million? Our part was $500,000.
Right, so this, and again, the report that Mr. Burkhead is going to work on for everyone, and once that gets completed and presented to the Property Committee, it will then be sent out to the entire commission. Kind of a time frame from the very beginning of this and to where we are today. But you know, the overview of this is that we did get a matching grant from the state to do the equestrian center down at, to move our existing equestrian center that's out at Pew Bourne down to Young. It was a $500,000 match. So in the beginning, we had $500,000 and the state was matching $500,000. After bids come in and were reviewed, there was an additional, I believe the number was $278,000 that we then approved. So we now have $787,000 where taking the $500,000 from the state. And there were certain items somewhere along the line, whether they weren't put in, whether they were removed, that have come up that have to be done to be able to make this a viable project, or we're going to have.
But the big issue being the bathrooms were not in.
Well, the bathrooms, we've got some problems, whether they are actually adequate for the site, or whether the state just says they are, two very different things. But One of the biggest problems that we've got is the entrance, that as it stands right now, we're gonna have a equestrian center that a horse trailer cannot turn into off of the highway. Again, we will come, Chris has been working on final numbers on those things, trying to figure out, he's been trying to encompass as much of this stuff in his budget that he possibly can, as just even with the playground portion of the grant, there was some testing that had to be done to be able to open the playgrounds up that were removed for one reason or another. And, but he's been able to encompass that hopefully within his budget without having to ask for any more money. Again, just trying to keep the body up to date on that, and then hopefully this time next month, we will have a full report and maybe even knowing exactly what the dollar amount that we're going to need to be able to complete this project. And then the money has to be spent on this grant by when?
June 30th.
So we are in a little bit of a time crunch on getting this project complete as well, and making sure that we don't turn and have to repay any of the grant money on top of everything else. But that's where we are.
That's where we are.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Brown.
Yes, I'd like to make a request. I probably don't want it from the superintendent, but from you, Karen. I've just been amazed, and we have made various, given various commendations. But I'd like to know, as we approach budget time, the amount of money to date that this school board has saved us and executed in capital constructions, purchasing, as well as programs that would normally be the liability, the responsibility of our county, how much it was saving, because this has been remarkable. I've never seen it in my life as a commissioner, and the things we need to all be enlightened on it in future consideration for funding. I just believe in being credible as best we can in those who are good stewards.
Any other reports? Item number 12. Any amendments or transfers to the general fund, school department, capital project, highway department, debt service, juvenile court service for the budget year of 2020 and 21. Commissioner Johnson.
Mr. Chairman. Fund 141, General Purpose Schools, Item 1, $250, donation from Gibson Connect.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 2, $10,808 to allocate funds received from district athletic events.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 3, $3,903.66. Budget insurance recovery money received to appropriate expense line item.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Fund 177, Educational Capital, Item 4, $15,000. Budget additional grant funds received with the GRVE grant.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 5, Fire Department Insurance Recovery Refund, $1,412.16. Reimbursement. One check was written to Sam's Club for fire and sheriff's department. Sam applied all to fire department account.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 6, Sheriff's Department, $8,472.67. Record fee reimbursement.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 7, Fire Department, $1,340 reimbursement live fire training.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None.
Item 8, Transfers Fire, $1,921.95. Reimbursement for IT to IT for phones.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 9, Finance, $32,134.48, solid waste, premium pay for employees.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 10, Finance, $57,383, premium pay for employees.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 11, Circuit Court Clerk, $500, meal expense for grand jurors.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 12, from fund balance, Finance Juvenile Court Services, $72,302.58, premium pay for employees.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 13, Finance, $1,142,824.15, premium pay for employees.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 14, Madison County EMA, $8,200, new money to cover fuel expenses through end of year.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 15, County Attorney, $6,147.50, additional billable hours for the first half of the fiscal year.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 16, Finance, $954,607.91, transfer from LRTA money to cover employee premium pay.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Mr.
Any
Chairman,
opposed? None.
we have 7 amendments that came in after the Finance Committee met. I move that we suspend the rules and deal with these.
Have a motion to suspend the rules? Second. Have a second by Commissioner Wall. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Continue.
The first one is Juvenile Court Services, Finance, and this is for the $250 raise for detention employees, and total debits $64,150.06 and total credits $64,150.06.
Have a motion?
Second.
Have a second, Commissioner Wall. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
This is from the Sheriff's Department, and it's to cover the $250 premium pay of $849,363.
Have a motion?
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Commissioner Thompson?
Just want to clarify, this is for the raises, not the premium pay.
Yes, this is for the raises,
Okay.
for the remainder of this year.
Gotcha.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
This is General Fund 101, Department Finance. Additional part-time premium pay. Total debits $8,300 $8,033.62. Credits, $8,033.62.
Have a motion? Have a second, Commissioner Brown. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
All right, we got, fund special revenue, item 128. The other was 101, and this is for $8,033.62, and total credits $8,033.62. This is for additional part-time premium pay.
Have a motion? Second. Have a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
This is capital projects, it's from capital money, and this is $100,000 for equipment for the new jail.
Have a motion? Second. Have a second, Commissioner Mercer. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
General fund, item, general fund 101, finance, 75,000 debits, total credit 75,000. Additional chamber funding, we voted for this last month.
Have a motion? Second. Have a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
This is the fire department, total debits, $30,572, total credits, $30,572. This is $250 increase for dispatchers.
Have a motion?
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Fred, do you want these? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, there is one other thing that we voted on in the Finance Committee that needs to come up. If you remember last month, we approved $1,000 for payment to first responders. That was Joey's motion. And we had a lot of discussion on what that covered. And at the time, and when we passed the motion, it did not include jailers, and it didn't include some fire department people. It did not include juvenile detention, or EMA. And so within the Finance Committee, we voted to expand that $1,000 for first responders, and it's just $1,000. We don't pay the taxes on it. We voted to expand it to the fire department employees, EMA, health department, certified jailers, juvenile detention monitors that are certified, and post-certified officers within the sheriff's department, captain and below. Now that's the full list. Last month we just approved the deputies. Let's see here.
You just approved the deputies and the fire department, the ones that actually, according to the definition of the TCA, responded to. No.
This was approved by the Finance Committee.
It was approved by the Finance Committee, yes, sir.
I have a question.
The motion's on the floor, no seconds required, and then committee recommendations. Go ahead.
Yes. Am I to understand that jailers, who defined this? Who defined this? The jailers, people like dispatchers, jailers, things like that.
What was added to this? Let's talk that way, because that's basically what we're trying to do. The certified deputies was already included in it, certified deputies and firemen as first responders. What was not included in it that we added, because is EMA, the health department, certified jailers, and certified juvenile detention officers. that's what this motion was adding to that.
So certified jailers do respond in emergency?
Certified, well, we expanded the, I guess you'd say, the definition of a first responder because the jailers were not included in the
Initial.
the way it was described initially when we voted on it. But the finance department looked at the people who have responded to COVID and been directly involved in addressing this, and that's EMA, the health department, certified jailers, and juvenile detention monitors are people. They dealt with it every day. So that's what the finance committee voted to expand it to. We just wanted the commission to vote on this as a whole because we changed the definition.
Commissioner Arnold.
The highway department is not included.
No, sir.
Who in the county system is not involved in this? The highway department, other county employees would be, I know the school department has highway employees. I know teachers, they're state paid, but we also contribute to those salaries also. Why wouldn't we just consider county employees across the board? That's what the money was sent for. And that would be sufficient, I think. We wouldn't have the other people. The people that work in the school system, they face this every day, still face it, in fact. So I'm just wondering why we don't include all county employees. Highway department, that's one of the first call goes out on an emergency call, it usually goes to the highway department, whether the fire department's called or highway patrol or who else. I mean, I think it's important that they definitely be included in this.
Well, all I can say is this is what the finance committee voted on to expand it to. Now, the school system pretty well, I mean, we rely on the school system to address their employees. And I think you've been given bonuses, have you not, Dr. King? Pardon? But that's the motion that was made and approved by the finance.
Do you have an update on what it would cost to fund all county employees?
Well, I can tell you what the one in
At
December.
the same amount that,
Yeah, this was $1,000. The one in December was $1,500 and $750, and in December it was $1,304,644. Is what it was in December. And keep in mind those.
Mr. Alexander.
$1,500 and $750.
For the mayor, did that also include the four people we have at the airport fire department? Because they are separate from the county fire department. Did that also include them?
No, but there again, that would be up to the airport authority board, as the school system is up to the school system, separate budget, so on and so on.
Mr. Taylor.
I think we need to support this. This, this ARPA money was for people that, this was in addition. We already gave all county employees a bonus. They all got that. Teachers have received multiple bonuses, which I think they deserve. And it come out of the federal money as well. But I really think that these people, like the health department, went above and beyond the call of duty when they were giving shots and, testing and doing those things. And I just think they deserve this extra money.
Committee recommendation, no second required.
Roll call, actually, call for roll call.
Roll call.
Ready, Mr. Chairman?
Ready.
Alexander?
yes.
Arnold?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Beckham? Bond?
Yes.
Brantley?
Yes.
Brown Claudel?
Yes.
Brown Scott?
Yes.
Bryant?
Yes.
Cleet?
Yes.
Compton?
Yes.
Deaton?
Yes.
Ellison?
Yes.
Gobble?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Hampton Pearson?
Yes.
Johnson Arthur?
Yes.
Johnson Barber? Martin?
Yes.
Mercer?
Yes.
Montague?
Yes.
Petty? Spearman? Stevenson,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Wall.
Yes.
I heard 21 yeses, Mr. Chairman.
21 yeses.
0 no's, 4 absent.
We got 22 people here, don't we?
Yeah. Missing Beckham, Johnson, Betty Spearman.
Okay. Motion passes. I'd just like to comment on that. All the intentions was, I think, in the right place. Everybody intended to do all they could do for county employees. But it may be wise for us to remember in the future, I think Commissioner Arnold is correct, anytime you separate some employees from others, we end up opening a can of worms that we can't always close, but our intent was good, I believe. So maybe we learned from this experience. County Mayor, report.
Mr. Chairman, there was one more recommendation that needed to come before the Financial Committee, and that was the resolution for probate copy machine. Y'all voted on it in financial management.
That was a recommendation from the Finance
Yes.
Department. Committee recommendation, no second required. Anybody understand what we're voting on?
No, tell me again.
Copy machine for who?
Probate court. I
Probate court.
apologize. Sarah said she put it on the agenda. I did not realize.
Oh, it's on the agenda, okay. We'll wait till we get to it then.
Okay.
Report from the county mayor.
Mr. Chairman, I'd first like to ask our health department director to give us a report on vaccinations and what we're dealing with in our community.
Well, Omicron is here and creating havoc. We're back to looking at numbers above where we were back in August. We're averaging about 300 new cases of COVID a day. So many that we can't keep up with them. We've cut our contact tracing back to just talking to the people who are actually positive. We're not notifying their contacts. We're asking them to do that themselves. And if they have questions, they can call us and we'll give them guidance. Before I talk about the vaccine numbers, which is really what he wanted me to talk about, if you've been keeping up with the news, the guidance has changed as far as how long you have to isolate and quarantine, and they've cut it in half to 5 days. It went from 10 days to 5 days for isolation of cases. Those of us in the science field didn't really agree with what CDC had done. We were a little concerned about that. So at the health department with my employees, I instituted a plan where when they come back to work on day 6, we test them with an antigen test before they enter the department, just to try to protect the rest of our employees because we're so low on staffing right now, as everybody is across the county. But it was interesting because the other day I had 4 scheduled to come back. I tested 4 of those employees, and 3 of the 4 were still positive on an antigen test. And what that means is you have to have enough virus in your body shedding that virus to make that antigen test become positive, which means you're still contagious. You could pass it to somebody else. So out of those 4 that day, 3 got sent back home for an additional 5 days. And I say that just to say to department heads, especially departments that have a small number of employees that you're trying to protect, if you want to follow that, you certainly could. We will be glad to test them for you. There is a shortage of tests on the shelf at Walmart and all other pharmacies. People are trying to buy the home antigen test to use, and they just can't be found. Jason with EMA has helped us get some tests for the hospital and for us, so we have the ability to help you out. I also want to put out there, if you have any questions as a department head about guidance, many of you already reach out to me on a regular basis, but those of you that don't, feel free to. We'll be glad to give you guidance. We'll be glad to test any employee that you have. That's why we have the testing equipment that we do to test county employees. Our vaccination rates are actually one of the top 3 in the state. The only two counties that are ahead of us are Davidson County and Williamson County. We're sitting at about 68.3% of the population of Madison County that have received at least one dose of the vaccine, and 61% are fully vaccinated in our county. They're kind of changing the definition of fully vaccinated from the 2-dose series or the 1 dose of Johnson & Johnson to include the booster dose for those. You can get your booster dose 5 months from your second shot in the primary series now. Instead of waiting 6 months, they've reduced that to 5. And it's 2 months if you got a Johnson & Johnson vaccine that you can get your booster 2 months after that. And it's recommended that you receive a Pfizer or Moderna vaccine for your booster if you received the Johnson & Johnson. Let me just say that the percentage of protection that you get with this Omicron variant is about 35% with just the primary series. But when you get that booster dose, it increases your protection to about 75%. So that's a significant amount of protection that's increased. I know what a lot of you are thinking. We've been vaccinated, we still got Omicron, and you're right. There's not a person in here probably that doesn't know somebody that's got COVID right now. It's probably affected yourself or your family or somebody that you know. However, if you'll remember, the purpose of the vaccine, no vaccine is 100%, just like the flu vaccine. It's not guaranteed that you're not going to get it. What we hope that it does is prevent serious illness and being in the hospital in intensive care. And I can share those hospital numbers with you from yesterday. Our hospital's in a critical situation because their employees are affected just like everybody else's. So they've got doctors, nurses that are tested positive that are having to isolate. So they don't have the staff to take care of all the patients that they've got. And I can say that my husband works in the ER and he has worked extended hours just because they have no staffing. They had 193 yesterday in Jackson General with COVID-19. 3 of those were pediatric cases, and that's not something that they've seen throughout this pandemic. They have sporadically maybe had 1 pediatric patient, but to have 3 at one time, that's significant for them. They've got 40 in intensive care. 6 of those are vaccinated. So when you look at the number of unvaccinated versus vaccinated, that's a significant difference there. 53 of those 193 that's hospitalized are vaccinated individuals. The majority of those vaccinated are in a regular bed. They're not in intensive care. They're not on a step-down unit. They're just on a COVID floor. And there's 5 people that are vaccinated that are on the ventilator. 23 total COVID patients are ventilated right now. And that's not counting other individuals that are ventilated for other reasons. So I just share that to say, please follow the recommendations. When you come out of isolation at the end of the 5 days, you need to have been fever-free for 24 hours and symptoms improving. Doesn't mean you can't have any symptoms. They just need to be improving and you feeling better. But if you have questions or you need somebody tested, we'll be glad to help you do that. We're still vaccinating every day of the week from 9 to 4:30. We have somebody at the health department 7 days a week working. I went in myself this weekend to test some people. So if you need it, just give us a call. We'll be glad to help you.
So this thing is versus what we were last year about this time. Our hospitalizations were zooming, but we've surpassed the number of hospitalized this January, which is last January when we set a record. And I'll tell you, this virus treats people differently. My 2 oldest grandchildren, 17 and 14, both of them have COVID. One of them showed no symptoms, and one of them has been sick for 2 or 3 days. Both healthy kids. both in Madison, or were till they got the virus. But just know that this thing is, it is here, and people who are vaccinated, my grandchildren are vaccinated. You still have a real opportunity of having this. It used to be, I mean, for several weeks, the hospitalization was running 8 to 10% vaccinated people. And now sometimes it's over 25% sometimes as far as that. So you can still get it, so we still need the precautions that everybody to be as take precautions as much as possible. Do you have a question?
I do have a question. I didn't hear the not that it's the main focus, but the death count. What are we seeing as far as folks dying from COVID? Are we keeping track of that still? I know the CDC is wanting to maybe shift towards, we can kind of see the shift happening where they're reducing the number, and you said you disagreed on the science, and so I think there's a lot of disagreement on the science out there, and we don't want to focus on where we're not unified, but also, do we have numbers on how many are still dying, or is it just, are we mostly focused about overcrowding at the hospital?
We're mainly focused on overcrowding. I can report, the hospital reported 3 COVID deaths within the last 24 hours. That was yesterday. We're very slow about releasing our deaths for Madison County, just because we wait till we hear from the state medical examiner to make sure that COVID is confirmed. I don't want to release.
It's looking for data that shows that it was COVID that actually killed them, not something else, and they died with COVID.
Yes, yes.
Right.
So we're very particular about when I can tell you that we've got several deaths that we've not reported that our epidemiologist is working through right now with the state medical examiner before she releases those. And the hospital reported 3 deaths yesterday, just in the past 24 hours. Deaths and hospitalizations always lag when you see an increase. From the people that I follow, they feel like that the U.S. as a whole has probably hit their peak or are about to. You're still going to see a lot of cases as that number goes down, as the bar goes down, but hopefully we've reached our peak. But you have to remember, the next 2 weeks are still going to be rough, especially for the hospital, because those things tend to lag.
Okay. And then one more question. You referenced it, the definition of fully vaccinated. Mm-hmm. When you said they're moving towards a new definition, do you know what that is?
It's vaccinated plus with your primary series, either which was a 2-dose series or the 1 dose with Johnson & Johnson, and now they're adding your booster. That it's not only recommended, they encourage it, and the guidance, your vaccination status affects whether or not you have to quarantine if you've been exposed and for how long.
Gotcha. So the versions that Pfizer's put out, the 1.1 that they're talking about coming that will combat Omicron, which will likely be gone, or at least we'll move on to other variants as well. Is this going to be an annual thing from what you're seeing the science and the data say, where we're going to be required a booster every year? Or every 6 months?
I don't know that that's been determined yet, but my personal opinion is that it will be like a flu shot, a yearly dose. The flu is made up of different variants, and so most of your flu vaccines are quadrivalent, which covers 4 different variants.
Right.
Sometimes they get it right, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's probably where this is headed.
Okay. Does the county require employees to get the flu shot?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate you answering my question.
I have a question. Do y'all keep stats on whether these people that are on ventilators or have come in or have pre-existing conditions?
We don't. The hospital probably does, but we don't.
Okay, those that have come in without anything that they have, what's their stay usually when they come in? Is it a short period of time compared to the Delta or not?
I don't know that they've looked at that enough yet to know, because Omicron has just actually been confirmed here in Madison County. We assumed it was here because looking at the difference in the symptoms between people who had Delta. But I can say that as of January the 8th, We get a report from the state that shows the sporadic testing for the variant, which is a lengthy test, and it has been confirmed in Madison County.
Well, as far as the hospital is concerned, they are almost on the record, or maybe over the record, but the issue is, last year when we had this issue, and they were at their absolute over peak capacity, they had more employees last year than they have today. They have more patients today. So they've struggled. They've done a good job of trying to keep up with it, but it's just like the health department. They work many long hours and overtime. The only other thing, Mr. Chairman, as I think you read and heard, the EAS, and Ryan can help me on this, EAS has rebid the air service for Jackson because of the existing carrier just was not getting the job done. I think Steve Smith told me that at one time they isolated, or like 52 people left in Atlanta with no way to get to Jackson at some point back a few months ago. So anyway, that's being rebid. There's like 6 bids out now, and those are going to be.
And I noticed Boutique was one of them.
The airport board and Mayor Connor and myself are going to be reviewing those starting tomorrow. So that's it.
Item number 14, approval to agreement with the copy machine from Madison County Clerk and Master Probate Court. Have a motion to approve? Have a second? Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Item 15, appointment of 5 members to the Budget Committee by this body, 1-year term: Doug Stevenson, Jason Compton, Mike Taylor, Morris Love, Warner Turner, incumbent. Commissioner Stevenson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Warner Turner is having a lot of health issues. We need to pray for him. And so what we've asked is Greg Parsons, who's the president of First Bank, to serve. However, I have not received his resume as of yet, so I guess we need to table this till next month.
All righty. Item number 16, appointment of 1 member to the liaison to the Industrial Development Board by this body, 1-year term: Thomas Cleek, incumbent. So moved. Have a motion?
Second.
Second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Item number 17, appointment of 8 members to the Information Technology Committee, 1-year term. Consists of 3 non-commissioners: Billy Burkhead, Bart Walls, Highway Superintendent Rusty Perry, and 5 commissioners: Scott Brown, Jason Compton, Jeff Wall, Doug Stevenson, Mike Taylor, incumbent. Have a motion to reappoint? Second. Have a second. Any discussion? Wall. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Item number 18, appointment of 1 member to the West Tennessee Training Center Oversight Committee, Finance Management Committee, 1-year term: Joey Hale, incumbent. That was committee.
He'd be reappointed.
Committee recommendation. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Item number 19, appointment of 1 member to the West Tennessee Training Center Oversight Committee and Capital Committee. This approval of 1-year term: Jason Compton, incumbent.
Mr. Chairman, Capital Committee has not met to take this up as a single item.
Okay.
Capital Committee will meet in February prior to the next meeting.
All right. Item number 21. 20. Appointment of 1 member to the West Tennessee Training Center Oversight Committee. That was the Budget Committee.
We're in the same position as the Capital Committee. We
Yeah.
haven't met yet. So we'll
Right.
meet this next month.
Gotcha, okay.
Thank you.
Item number 21, election of notary publics. So moved. Have a second. Commissioner Brown. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Item number 22, any and all matters related to and connected with matters set forth, items 1 through 21. Commissioner Hale.
I just would like an update from the sheriff's department as far as their recruitment plan, as far as bringing people in and offering. Have we been able to see any, I know it's been exactly 1 month, but.
We're actually pulling up on patrol.
Okay.
We're good. In jail, we ended up with about 3. So
We've added 3?
We have, and we've got a couple pending. So it's starting to really get a good deal.
I know that's one area where we're at crisis level as far as employment. I know the jail was missing 26, so now they're 23 or?
But we also have a retirement coming, so it's.
Yeah, there's always we need a massive influx of people coming in there so we can have this new jail open. But as far as the plan of recruitment and creating a line number to be able to track the recruitment.
It's in place to start doing it.
Perfect.
Commissioner Ellison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I got a question. A while back, we, on our agenda, we approved $6,000 for our county attorney. And I'm wondering why we are approving $6,000 for him. I thought he had a salary. How is he working? How is he being paid?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
I'm not sure what agenda item he's referencing, but I know that it's an hourly rate, I believe, and he took an hours and we can address it, but.
I bill the county at an hourly rate. There's a $7,500 that is charged automatically per month, and any amount over that, I'll submit additional time. And so for the last quarter of 2021, had additional time of 6,000 some odd dollars, and I submitted those invoices to the county, and that's what was approved. And I'm happy to make those available to you if you'd like to review them.
I don't really want to know. I thought maybe you had a contract for what you work for instead of hourly. I didn't know.
No, it's the same process we've had for a number of years for both county attorney. We've paid in that process over the last number of years. Commissioner Goff.
Has anybody got an update on Harold Petty?
I talked with Harold maybe a week ago. He's still in rehab. He's hoping to get out, but I haven't heard anything. Sarah, you got anything on?
Basically what you just said. He's in rehab. He's trying to get better and.
He wants to get out, but they haven't released him yet.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Wall.
He texted me this morning. I texted to check on him, and he texted me this morning. He said, still in rehab, doing okay. Don't know how much longer I'll be here, but please ask everyone to continue to pray for me. Thanks for checking on me. We'll see you soon.
Commissioner Davis.
I got a text from him also. He said, from Mike Taylor and I to wave at him, so if everybody wants to wave at him.
Hello, Harold.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I didn't think about it. He is probably watching, isn't he? I'm amazed people do watch this. It'll be quite a show. Item number 20, anything else? Item number 23. Motion to adjourn. Have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Roll call.
Alexander. Yes. Arnold.